There are people who will tell you they had a dream they couldn't explain. Not just any dream, a dream where they were underwater, but they could breathe. They weren't drowning. They weren't afraid. They were being watched. And in that water, there was a woman, beautiful in a way that doesn't feel normal, not just pretty, commanding.
See, this is already where I wake up. Immediately.
But they didn't wake up because she didn't let them. She moved slowly, like the water was part of her. And when she looked at them, it didn't feel like a stranger. It felt like she already knew them. Some people say she speaks. Others say she doesn't have to, because somehow you already understand. And when you wake up, something is different.
Different how?
You feel pulled to water, to something deeper, to something you can't explain, but can't ignore.
Reports of recurring water-based dream encounters are consistently documented in ethnographic studies of West and Central African spiritual traditions.
Some people call it imagination. Some people call it coincidence. But in certain traditions, they call it something else. They call it a calling. To understand that calling, you have to understand something first. Mami Wata is not one being. She's not a single goddess, not a single story, not even a single tradition. She is a system.
Mami Wata is best understood as a complex network of water spirits rather than a singular deity.
Across Africa, from Nigeria to Benin to the Congo, people have always believed in water spirits. Long before colonization, long before Christianity, long before the internet turned everything into a debate, water was never just water. It was life, food, trade, survival, but also danger.
Yeah, because water don't play. One wrong move, and that's it.
Exactly. And when something gives you life and can take it away just as easily, you don't treat it like nothing. You give it meaning. You give it respect. You give it a face. And that's where she comes in. Mami Wata represents water in its truest form. Beautiful, generous, unpredictable, and never fully under your control.
The dual nature of Mami Wata reflects the fundamental characteristics of water itself, life-giving and potentially destructive.
But here's where it gets deeper. People don't just believe she exists. They believe you can have a relationship with her.
Not a casual one, I'm guessing.
No, not casual at all. Because in these traditions, nothing powerful is casual. Everything is an exchange. Now here's where things get complicated. Because depending on who you ask, Mami Wata is either a powerful spiritual force or something dangerous or something people should fear completely.
Yeah, because if you go online right now, they're gonna tell you she ruining lives, taking husbands, stealing souls.
And that version didn't start where people think it did.
The characterization of Mami Wata as primarily demonic is largely a product of colonial-era missionary influence and later Pentecostal reinterpretation.
In traditional belief systems, she was never framed as evil. She was framed as powerful. And power has consequences.
So basically, people took something complex and simplified it into good versus bad.
Exactly. And once that happened, everything changed. Stories became exaggerated. She'll destroy your life. She demands extreme sacrifices. She tricks people into deals. Most of that is not rooted in traditional practice.
Many extreme claims circulating online originate from modern media amplification and religious opposition narratives, rather than documented traditional beliefs.
But here's the truth that people don't say enough. You don't need exaggeration, because the real concept is already serious. At the center of this belief is something called a covenant. Not a wish, not a prayer, a relationship. You don't just ask for things, you enter into agreement.
Okay, now this sounds like a contract.
In a way, yes. Because in this system, if you receive something, you are expected to give something.
The covenant structure is a foundational element across African traditional religions, emphasizing reciprocity between humans and spiritual forces.
And this is where people get uncomfortable. Because modern thinking says, I want blessings with no conditions. But that's not how this works. People who are believed to be called by Mami Wata often describe recurring dreams, near drowning experiences, sudden changes in their life, and then a decision. Accept the relationship or reject it.
And if you ignore it?
Some believe it doesn't go away. There are stories of women who suddenly became different, more confident, more magnetic, more noticed, but also more distant. Relationships started changing, some ended completely, and people around them began to whisper.
Let me guess. They said it was her.
Yes, some said she was blessed. Others said she was involved with something deeper. And here's the part that matters. In traditional understanding, both could be true. For many women, Mami Wata represents something rare, power that doesn't come from approval.
In many traditions, Mami Wata priesthoods provided women access to authority and independence outside male-dominated systems.
That alone is powerful, but power comes with responsibility.
Yeah. Everybody wants the glow up. Nobody wants the rules.
Exactly. She is empowering because she gives. She is feared because she expects. Today, people interpret her in different ways. Some see her as a spiritual force, a symbol of feminine power, a psychological archetype, a cultural identity.
Modern interpretations range from psychological frameworks to feminist and diasporic identity perspectives, each extracting different aspects of the tradition.
And none of those are completely wrong. But none of them fully capture the original idea either. The biggest misunderstanding is this. People want power without relationship. They want the beauty, the influence, the transformation without asking, what does this require from me?
Yeah, that question changes everything.
It does, because traditions like this were never about control. They were about balance. Give and receive. Respect and be protected. Ignore and face consequences. Not punishment, just outcome. So the question isn't, is Mami Wata real? The real question is, if something powerful chose you, would you answer